Please help me welcome back director James Ponsoldt and screenwriter Michael Weber.
The question was about the dialogue. She said it felt natural, and she was wondering how much was in the script, how much was improv, and do you want to talk about that?
I mean, I think it was a mix. A lot of it was in there, but our cast was much closer to being a teenager than I am, and you gave them the freedom to kind of play and explore, and we ended up at some really nice places where it seemed more natural than what was in there. So I think it was kind of a mix, but it's really effective. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. I mean, I think of the sort of brain trust of like writers, producers, director, the average age is probably mid-30s, something like that. So as far as who's going to be the best advocate for a 17-year-old girl,
and adapted from a book, the author being in his 50s. So it as this project progressed, it came closer to being in the mouths of teenagers. So.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of worked with the idea that if I could find the right actors for the parts, that I was casting them not to be models, but really to be artists, you know, and casting them for their imaginations, and that sort of there was kind of an unspoken contract that, you know, anything they wanted to do in front of the camera, they could try. They just had to be willing to try anything that I asked them, and sort of we just respected each other. So the question was, what did it take to adapt, and how closely does it follow the novel?
The book is fantastic. It was shortlisted for the National Award for YA back in, I don't know, 07 or 08. We wrote the script in 2008, and it took almost 5 years to us being here tonight. The script itself was written maybe a month or 6 weeks. It didn't take very long. The book is really great. The hardest part was getting it made, much harder than adapting it.
To me, this is not a movie about alcoholism. To me, it's sort of just an honest portrayal of teenagers, or rather, there's a version of a story about adolescence where the kids are all doing meth and raping each other, and then there's like a High School Musical version, and to me, this is a pretty middle ground approximation of
No, that's a good point. We actually, it's what attracted to us to the book in the first place, because it seemed like the marketplace was, there were these vampire, witches, wizard, superpowers movies that were using sort of metaphors for the complexity of being a teenager. And there was the heightened American Pie hijinks and all that. And growing up myself on John Hughes movies and a certain kind of what felt like an honest high school movie, we just wondered for years, why can't we do this right down the road and not sugarcoat it and not flinch and not talk down to kids either. And that was sort of our goal all along. So, thanks.
Yeah, she's wonderful. The question was, where did played Amy come from? We had seen her playing George Clooney's daughter in The Descendants, the Alexander Payne film.
Her interest in the movie is what really propelled this from a script that was sitting around for a while to a real thing. Because people were so impressed with what she did in The Descendants, and she was being very picky about what was next. Once she was in, everything really picked up a lot of momentum, so it meant a lot to have her.
Question? The actor that played Sutter, he's an actor named Miles Teller, who, fantastic actor that I'd seen in Rabbit Hole with Nicole Kidman, and then again in Footloose, which is a totally different movie. And he's really, really great, again, super honest actor who has a complete lack of vanity, and part of sort of what I was really excited in doing in this film was to depict a movie about young people where it didn't feel like it was Abercrombie and Fitch models, and which meant pretty much no makeup, and in clothes that looked like in some cases hand-me-downs or something you get at Walmart or whatever. And Miles, he's been open about this, and he was asked about this at one festival, but he was in a serious car accident a couple of years ago where I think like 99 times out of 100 in that kind of accident he would have been killed, but he survived. And to me, I mean, sort of acne, scars, things like that, that's really compelling, and that's sort of what the actor brings to it. They bring themselves, so we weren't interested in hiding that. We just sort of, it felt really honest to that character. As he says in the thing, he sort of jumps out of moving cars, so why not just embrace it? Thank you so much, everyone, for sticking around. And thank you, Independent Film Festival Boston, for putting on this amazing festival year after year. It's such a wonderful thing for the city, and we're so honored and humbled that we could be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Michael. Thank you.